Welcome to another CMA training. If you've seen some of our other ones, you've seen some of the more simple ones. Today's going to be a little more complex because we're not going to be able to isolate one single neighborhood, and we're going to have to look at all the different value components and determine exactly how we want to move the data around so that we're getting the best look possible for a specific property. So I'm going to start by hitting the search button. And this is going to be a single family detached home. And I'm going to go in and choose every status. I want everything but rentals because I want to know anything that failed to sell too, because that's an important indicator. So I hit save. Now I'm going to limit my search to the northeast side of town. That's where our subject property is located. And you can see we've only narrowed it down to 44,000 properties, so we probably can do a few more things. Okay, we never ever use price in a CMA because what we're trying to do is determine a price. So if we use prices, they will self-fulfilling prophecy give us a valuation exactly as we expected. So leave price alone. Okay, the subject property we're looking at is a 5-bedroom house. So I'm going to say a minimum of 4 bedrooms and a minimum of 4 bathrooms. And ours subject is 5.5 baths. And year built. Tell you what, let's skip that for a second. Let's go to square footage. And what we want to do is we want to put in the value components that buyers are going to make the most important. And this is going to be a larger house. And so somebody who's looking for a 5-bedroom home is not going to be interested in a 2-bedroom home, no matter how good of a deal it is. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to limit this number here down to probably less than 20 properties, maybe even less than 10 properties. And so if I got there by just putting in 4 bedrooms and 4 baths, that'd be fine. But we haven't gotten there yet. We're still over 6,000 properties. So I'm going to come down to these dates real quick. Make sure we're dealing with current information. So I'm going to say anything that went off the market this year. Okay, off market date as opposed to closing date. Okay, and that dropped us all the way down to 340 properties. And then for any of our properties that are closed, I want to go anything in the last 6 months. And that's still 300 properties. So what's nice now is we can do some things that are going to whittle the field down. And I'm going to go to the size. Okay, we've already done the bedrooms and baths. That's part of size. But now we're going to do the square footage. And the property we're looking at is 5,044 square feet. So I'm going to go plus or minus 10% and just say from 4,500 to 5,500. Okay, and now we're down to 16 properties. So we could still put in some other things to keep limiting this down, but we're already there. And one of the things, secondary criteria, you can come down here and say owner's pool. I'm going to say yes, and let's see how that impacts the number. Okay, it brings us down to 12. I'm going to stop us right there. So now all the houses have a pool. They're all 4,500 to 5,500 square feet. They were the ones that are sold closed since April. The ones that went off the market are off the market since January. So hit our little search button. And you can see we've taken 40 some odd thousand properties now down to 12. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the fails. We got 9722 Prestantia, but it's also on the market right now. So that's not really a failed to sell. That's just a copy, a duplicate copy. So I'm going to get rid of it. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 solds, 4 actives, and of the actives, 1 is already under contract. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to look at this, come over to reports, we want to look at this in a CMA summary format. Okay. And now we can do some selective weeding. I don't need 7 sold comps. And what I want to do is try to find something real close to my size. So this one here is probably the closest, 5125, because I'm dealing with 5,044 square feet. So let's get rid of the smallest. Let's get rid of this smaller one. Let's get rid of this smaller one and this smaller one. Now I've got 3 of them, and 5,100, 5,400, and 4,800. So that's pretty good right there. So if I hit the checked, I've got my 3 solds now to look at, and now I'm going to come up here and I'm going to go, well, we've got some actives, and I'm going to get rid of this one because it's a bigger one. And now I'm going to like that. And now I've selected 3 actives, 3 solds, and there are no failed to sell listings. Why is it important to know that there's no failed to sell listings? Well, it means because everything is selling. That is a very strong sign for sellers. Now, when we look at this, we can see it says, and I generally don't really care about the list price and the actual dollar amounts. I'm more about the price per square foot. Okay, and there's a $580 per square foot, and this one's probably not a good comp because that's probably sitting on an absolute huge lot. Or it might be a newer house. And so let's just actually take a quick peek at this. Okay, this is sitting on 6 acres. That's just not really comparable to a house that's sitting on 3/4 of an acre. Is this on water frontage? I think not. Yeah, it's not on waterfront, but that's a house that's got a good bit of land to it, and you can see it's got looks like a 8-car garage behind a house that already has a 2-car garage. So that's a pretty substantial property, and I don't think that's a good comp. So I'm going to actually go back to our CMA summary. And I'm going to hit all. That's going to give me all my properties back. Okay, and we're getting rid of this one because it's just too big of a property. We'll add in this Oxbow property, and then we will choose just the checked blocks. And now let's take a peek at where we're at, and we're looking at basically the minimum is $278 a foot. Now it's on the market. On the market means not confirmed. No buyer has come along and closed on the property, so you can't really call it confirmed. But this one on Prestantia is on the under contract at $290 a foot. Okay, but let's come down to the stuff we really want to see, and that's our solds. And I typically am most interested in the median sold price per square foot. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to export this so that we can manipulate it and get some results from it. Okay. All right, here we go. And we're going to go there and there. Okay, and so now we're going to go with the subject is 5,044 square feet. And then we're going to just come down here and we're going to say, let's go with here, we're going to go for sale. And here we're going to go sold. And so we can take our okay, so our average for sale is our price per square foot times our list price per square foot. And you got a median value of 1.47 million, a minimum value of 1.4, okay, an average of 1.5, and a max of 1.7. Okay, but that's based on what is for sale. And what is for sale, you can ask any price and any price per square foot you want. So now let's take a look at what that does for solds. And so this is going to be equal to that times that. Okay, not nearly as big a numbers over here. Okay, so the minimum value is 1.06. Okay, the median value is 1255. And then you've got an average of 1216 and a maximum of 1.3. And remember, all of these homes are really similar to our comparable our subject property. Okay, our subject property is 5,044 square feet, and we used a median of 5125. So that's within a few percent. Little bit higher on the for sale side. So we would say that we're a little bit more confident with our sold results than we are with our for sale results, because our subject property is dissimilar to a lot of these. Okay. This is a 5-bedroom, 7-bath house. We're only dealing with a 5-bedroom, 5.5 bath. So every single one of the comps on the for sale is technically a little bit bigger of a house. Now, when we come down to the solds, it's the other way around. Only one of them is a bigger house, and it's the one that sold for 1.275 or 248 a foot. So ironically, the biggest house in the sold comps in terms of bedrooms and bath went for the cheapest. So that's why you run the numbers. You got to see how it works out. But this is the final report for me determining the value of a 5,054 square foot house in Area 1 with a pool that has at least 4 bedrooms, at least 4 baths, and sold in the last 6 months.